connected. So we apologize if you're seeing the notification for the second time. And but thank you for tuning in and staying with us as we're going to repeat most of the things that we did in our first video, which has been pulled down. Also, welcome to those on YouTube, which will get who now get a better version of the show, since we won't have the interruptions of I think we lost the stream. No, we're back up.
Yep.
So Mike, a lot of things to talk about, and we only got an hour to do it in, Mike. So we're going to be going and talking the NASCAR corner, giving you the results of Talladega and our predictions for the Roval, as well as some NFL predictions. Mike, what else are we going to be talking about?
We have to wrap up the Cubs season and other MLB talk, as well as NFL and NHL predictions. And as always, we got to hit that Masked Singer recap. All that and more, but let's roll the intro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.
Okay, we're back. For those watching on trying to watch us live, we apologize. I don't know what's going on, and I'll figure it out later. But something with OBS is having issues, so we are recording it on live. So we'll get it on YouTube later, and then we'll put the YouTube link up in the show on the show page, so you can watch the whole thing if you'd like. But back to other things, Rich. This week we had a poll question. In that poll question, we had Welcome to the Jungle versus Seven Nation Army. Rich, how did you vote?
I went with Seven Nation Army. I really like that opening guitar riff, and the fans get into that for the teams that use that as kind of like as an intro song to get the team onto the field. Mike, how did you vote?
I too went with Seven Nation Army, mostly because I don't like hair metal, and Welcome to the Jungle is like the epitome of hair metal. I love metal, don't get me wrong, but I don't like hair metal. So went with Seven Nation Army, and you know what? So did our fans. 66% of the votes, that's 5-2, voted for Seven Nation Army. I'm sorry, it's 4-2 because 5 was when I had to vote on behalf of the show. Then I take that out, so it's 5-2. Sorry, 5-2.
5-2.
Yep.
All right. So this week we'll get the poll up after we get done recording. It will be Queen's "We Will Rock You," followed by Thunderstruck.
Man, this one's a hard one for me because I love both of these bands. It's going to be a rough one. I don't know how I'm going to vote just yet. We'll let you know next week. Rich, do you see what's coming up?
Mike, is it a left turn?
Yes, it is. But after that?
Oh, it could be a left turn, but it could be a right turn as well. Because, Mike, we're going to be going into the NASCAR Corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, if you're in town, or you can find them on eBay as well. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated.
That's
So,
right.
Mike, how did our picks for the Yellowwood 500 go?
Yeah, so the Yellowwood 500 in Talladega. Rich, you had a near-perfect weekend as Ryan Blaney couldn't hold off Chase Elliott as Chase Elliott takes the win, but Ryan Blaney gets second, and Michael McDowell finished third.
Yeah,
Bro, you were like near perfect.
I know. I was on point for Talladega, which is weird because that's such a hard race to predict.
I mean,
As Mike, yeah,
Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch doing 17th and 20th. By the way, 20th for Kyle Busch when we pick him is actually really good. I take that as a win. He didn't end up in the bottom 4.
Yeah, especially with the way his playoff races have been
I
going.
know.
His Toyotas just have not been performing well at all, and I don't think it's all on the driver.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay, this week, Rich, we are heading out to Charlotte for the Bank of America Charlotte Roval 400. This race is considered a road course because they took a oval track added the infield in it, and ended up adding some twists and turns. Rich, you have the honors. Who are you picking?
Mike, I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger as my non-playoff driver.
Okay.
And because it's my wife's birthday weekend, I'm going to pick her favorite driver, at least her favorite driver this year, and go with Ross Chastain.
I like Ross Chastain. I am picking Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon, two guys who have proven that they are really good at the Roval race. So that's why we're going to pick them. Why I'm going to pick them. Rich, we will give you guys a standings update next week as they eliminate. They go from 12 to 8 this week. We'll tell you who made the cut and who didn't. Check that race out tomorrow, or is that tonight?
No, it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon race.
Okay.
So you can check that out. Find it on NBC on the main network.
Ooh.
So yeah, you can watch the race and then roll right into Sunday Night Football.
Okay. And then big news this week for AJ Allmendinger. You picked him as your driver. Give us the big news so that we all know why he is excited.
Because Colleague Racing, the team that he's been racing in the Cup Series with on a part-time basis, mostly on the road courses, has promoted him, and he's going to drive full-time next year. So when he wins a road course race, he will be eligible for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
next year.
That is big news for him. Really excited to see him back in a Cup car for the whole season next year. And you know what? Look for that team to make big strides forwards, as stability in who's sitting in that car really does help your team do better. The pit crew starts to be able to say, okay, we know how he's going to come into the pits. We know how he's going to want the car set up. You can set the car up better every week, and you can also get the car in and out of the pits a lot quicker because your team knows what to expect from their driver. Look for that team to have a good year next year. Really excited for AJ Allmendinger. Rich?
Yeah, and also Allmendinger won't have to do double duty on race weekends, being racing in the Xfinity Series race on the Saturday and then turning around and getting into the Cup car for the Sunday race.
Yep. So, I mean, it's really exciting to see that. So, Rich, this has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline if you're in town, or on their eBay store. Once again, that's Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Let's head over to the gridiron, Rich, as week 4, we have lots to talk about. We talked last week about the Tua situation, and that actually had some bearing on the Thursday night game, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first, Rich, you picked the Cowboys over the Commanders, leaving you undefeated still, as the Cowboys won 25-10. Man, is it just me, or do those Commanders look worse than anybody predicted that they would be?
I think so. They had a great game in week 1 against the Jaguars, and then it's all been downhill from there. And it almost seems like Carson Wentz could be on the move again, or he's going to have another coaching staff because Ron Rivera may not have a job by the end of the year if this team doesn't improve.
That is terrible. Ron Rivera deserves much more than he gets in a lot of places, and it's sad to see. It's sad to see what's happening there. So, okay, Rich, how did I do in our locks of the week?
Well, Mike, you picked the Packers over the Patriots, which I thought was really the only true lock of the week, and they pulled it off. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win as they won 27-24 in overtime, improving their mark to 1-3. The Patriots went down to their third string quarterback in this game as they couldn't keep Brian Hoyer in the game as Billy Zapri had to step in for the Pats in that game.
Yep.
You still got to win though. 1-3
Yep.
is your mark. So, Mike, on the upset side, you picked the Panthers over the Cardinals, mainly because you needed to see the Panthers get back on a winning track since you picked them to get a wild card spot with the addition of Baker Mayfield. And it's not going to start this week, Mike. That it didn't start last week, Mike, as they lost 26-16 against the Cardinals. You're 2-2 with the upsets. How did mine do, Mike?
Rich, your upsets. You picked the Ravens over the Bills. Just barely did the Bills squeak it by, 23-20. That puts you as well at 2-2 on the season.
Yeah,
Rich,
there was a little bit of controversy at the end of that game as the Ravens and John Harbaugh elected to go for it on a critical fourth down, which could have given them the lead, which could have tied the game and sent it in the overtime. He went for the win. And it didn't work out for him.
okay, so we're gonna get.
No. I think they wanted to get 6 or 7 points on the board, and not a field goal.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that game quite a bit, as it really did affect my power rankings quite a bit. You got to talk about the fact that the Ravens. How many points did they score in the second half, Rich?
I'm gonna say 0.
You're right. They scored exactly 0 points in the second half.
Yeah,
They had a 20-3 lead going into halftime.
Yeah, it's turning. The Ravens are turning into a team that can't close.
They're turning into the Atlanta Falcons? We'll talk about that when we get to our power rankings and some of that on that. Okay, Rich, the Bears played the Giants last week. We both knew what was going to happen. Even though the Giants are a garbage team, we both knew what was going to happen because the Bears are worse. They lost the game. We both said they were going to lose. It puts us both at 3-1 on the year. The Bears 2-2 and looking to lose some more. I'm guessing. We'll give you our predictions on that in just a minute. And then finally,
the score on the game was 20-12 in favor of the Giants.
Yeah, it was.
And my Thursday night football, I didn't bother watching the game. It doesn't look like, based off of the score, that I really missed anything, as the Colts won 12-9 in overtime.
By the way,
so
the
I'm
fact
2-3,
that they're
Mike,
12,
3-2.
The fact that they're 12-9, and they win it, and that's going into overtime. Oh.
When the story of the game is that it's 9-9 going into overtime, and the Denver fans decide to leave the game.
They are booing.
That tells you something. And they're booing the team.
The Denver fans are booing the team. Oh man, I mean, I guess. What do you expect from the guys that make Walmart close?
Yeah, both of these teams have really been surprising underachievers for me.
Yeah,
I thought that the Colts were almost made the playoffs.
Yep.
And we thought that Matt Ryan was going to be an upgrade over Carson Wentz, and they had this exact same team returning, and it just wasn't working out. And I mean, the Broncos, we thought that they would be better, thinking that, all right, Russell Wilson gets out from underneath Pete Carroll. Maybe they can finally let him, an offense can be built around his talents instead of it starting the season letting him pass and play a little bit of hero ball, and then pulling in the reins and telling him, nope, we're going to run the ball and do short or intermediate passes.
Does this make Pete Carroll look like a better coach?
You know what? I'm still kind of on the fence on what's going wrong in Denver.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Russ slowing down and proving the Seahawks were right to not give him the big long-term contract and basically trade him off, saying that, well, we think you're past your prime and we're trying to protect you. from being exposed, or if this is a case where maybe the coaching staff of Nathaniel Hackett is starting to trying to fit a round pole. What is it?
A round
A
peg.
yeah, round peg in a square hole
Yep.
with trying to make Russell Wilson fit into their system instead of building an offensive game plan around your skill your quarterback skill set.
I think there's a lot going wrong here, but I actually don't think there's as much going wrong as the rest of the world is leading on. The rest of the world right now is saying the Broncos are on fire and the Colts are terrible. I mean, they're on fire in a bad way, and the Colts are terrible in a bad way, and just blow them all up. Here's my thing. Russell Wilson. How long was Russell Wilson in Seattle?
At least 8, 9 years, was it?
Probably it might have been 10.
Yeah,
I was gonna say 10 or more, but yeah. How long was Matt Ryan in Atlanta?
much longer than that.
Okay, so you have two guys who are moving to new locations, trying to figure out a brand new system. You have one of the guys who's moving from a near sea level area in Seattle to the Mile High City and trying to get his body back to conditions where those conditions are normal for him. And then you have the other guy who's moving from Atlanta to Indy. He's going from the dirty South to probably the most wholesome Midwest town in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment for comparing Indy and Atlanta.
And so these guys, they're in culture shock. Their systems are completely different than what they've seen ever. Give them some time. This week should be when we start to see these guys, especially because they have the long week. We're gonna start seeing these guys start work. The coaches are gonna start figuring out what they have to do for their guy to get their guys better, and the guys hopefully should be able to start making bigger strides to being the quarterbacks we expect these guys to be.
Because I hope so.
These are both guys that have had pretty close to Hall of Fame careers in their original cities. Like, legitimately, they both had pretty close to Hall of Fame careers in their own individual cities. And so that's 100% what I think's happening. Don't count either of these guys out yet, and let's see where it takes us. On that other note, we did have a player taken out of the game on Thursday night. Came off the field wobbly. They were not letting him go back in. I don't care if they could prove that it was something other than there was no concussion involved. The way he went out, I don't think the NFL could have let him back in if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard about that with Nathan Himes.
Yeah.
Getting knocked out on the first play of the game, and the first Colts offensive play of the game.
Yeah, this is hopefully this is what you'll see with the new NFL, that they actually protect players both from themselves and from each other. So we'll see. That Tua situation still hasn't resolved itself as he wants to. I mean, he wants to play this week. I don't think he.
That's the last thing I heard, but they have confirmed that he's out and he did not travel with the team this week.
Good.
So one thing that I did see this week was that a prominent trauma brain injury person is saying that Tua should sit out the rest of the season and refuse to play for the Dolphins again.
Was that
because of how they handled him?
I
don't recall
Chris Nowinski?
I don't recall the name. I didn't click into the story. I just read the headline.
The problem is Tua believes he could play today and he'd be fine. So I don't know. It's one of those things where you're gonna have to see they owe him a lot, and he deserves better than what he got this week, last week. And I'm glad that the team finally is taking this seriously and not letting him play. So there were two memes that I saw about it. One was one was the one that I created that you and your wife both liked, I think. That was taking the Chris Rock slap from Will Smith and basically saying that the Miami Dolphins said, "Get the word concussion out your mouth," because that's kind of what they were doing. And then the other one was, remember Not Another Team movie? The head coach is like, "Can Bubba play?"
Well, he's
in a coma, coach. Well, can he play? I mean, he's almost dead. You're not answering my question. Can he play?
Yeah, Billy Bob. I think it was Billy Bob.
Whatever. Yeah.
Billy Bob play, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean
another team movie.
That's what Miami was doing to Tua. And we all saw it. We all know it. I forgot to bring up, and Rich didn't know that I was doing this. I'm going to bring back our Twitter page. I already have.
Okay.
And in our Twitter page, I've already brought back, I did a poll question.
Okay.
And that poll question was, which were better, the all whites or the all whites of the Bengals or the all blacks of the Commanders?
I got to go with I kind of like. Yeah, it's got to be the Bengals white stripes.
100% of the vote. 100% of the vote said the white stripes, the white tigers, were better than the blackouts of the Commanders. I 100% agree. I actually voted that way as well. If you are wanting to participate in our Twitter polls, and these are going to be random, I'm going to make them more sports related than our poll questions that are on Facebook, but these are going to be random poll questions, and they'll be sports related, but not necessarily sports centric. Like the color of a uniform, of two different uniforms, has nothing really to do with sports, but it's related to sports. So that's kind of what that's kind of what I'm looking for. The White Stripes win 5-0. You have five minutes left to vote on that poll question. So if you want to do that, okay. Let's get into that will wrap up our week 4 discussion. Let's get into week 5. Rich, it is an odd week. You have honors on odd weeks. Who are you picking for your lock of the week?
Well, Mike, I'm going to go with the Packers over the Giants out in London. The Giants are going to be playing with their third string quarterback, and really the only guy in my opinion, that they have to worry about is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and I think if the Packers just load up and defend against the run, you don't really have to worry about much else.
Yep. So I'll give me the Packers out in London.
That's
Mike. Who are you gonna take?
I'm picking the Let me try that again. I am picking the Bills over the Steelers. As
I really like that pick too. I was going back and forth. That was one of the things that I originally penciled in as my lock of the week, and then changed it.
Yep.
Because the Steelers are coming into this game saying, well, we're not the underdog, but they are starting a rookie quarterback, as Kenny Pickett's getting his first NFL start on the road against probably one of the better defenses in football this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, Rich, your upset special, what do you want to go with?
My upset special, I'm going to take Geno Smith and the Seahawks going down to New Orleans and getting the win against the Saints.
You know, the Saints are a terrible team. I think you're probably right. I think that's wrong for that to really be an upset. I think that really should be a pick'em game. But
we go off of the pick distribution, Mike. And
we
at
do.
The time that I put it in, it was heavily favored again for the Saints.
I totally agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think personally that should be closer to a pick'em than it is an upset. But you did get it. You are correct. The way that the pick distribution says the Saints should win, but man, that's a okay. I am gonna pick the Cincinnati Bengals to upset the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens haven't been looking as good as we thought they would this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking terrible, but they're not looking good. So that's
the Bengals are getting back on track.
Yeah. Look for Joe Burrow to lead that team like a man and do what he needs to do. Okay, Rich, we get to pick 2 Bears games this week as we have the Bears-Vikings tomorrow. Is there even a question on this one?
Not for me, Mike. Vikings are going to get that W.
Man, I'm really bummed. If it wasn't for this summer, I would be going to this game. And then I just found out my older brother is going to this game.
Wow.
I'm kind of bummed. So look for the Vikings to win tomorrow. I'm cooking a brisket and having people over so they can make fun of the Bears and how terrible they are. It's not going to be pretty. If you're a Bears fan and you're able to turn on the race, turn on the CBS game, turn on anything but this game, it's going to be bad. I'm going to have Vikings fans over, so we're going to have to watch the Vikings beat up on the Bears.
All right, Mike. And then for some reason, the NFL wanted to put the Bears on Thursday Night Football as the Commanders will be coming into Soldier Field to take on the Bears.
Okay, I already have this week's poll question for Twitter.
Okay, what's that?
Which is a worse Thursday night game? Colts, Broncos? Bears, Commanders?
All right. So, Mike, I'm really not sure what to think of this game. The Commanders can't get a win.
But hang on. If the first week Commanders show up, they're going to destroy the Bears.
But if
any other Commanders,
yeah, but if weeks 3 and 4 Commanders show up, it could be anybody's game.
Yeah,
and for that reason, I'm going to stick with my preseason pick of this is a week where the Bears get a win.
I'm going to flip on it. I think the Commanders actually have a better team if they do what they're supposed to. Hopefully they will. Hopefully their team will be better, and we'll see them do better, and we don't have to worry about it. I'm guessing it's going to be the Commanders. It could be a Bears win, though. I almost put pick 'em because I really don't know how to pick on this game. So
I don't either.
Okay, Rich.
All right, Mike. Let's go over to our power rankings.
Yeah.
So, where are we at on the timestamp?
We're at 28 minutes. We got plenty of time because the last few things are going to go pretty quick. Or they should.
All right, Mike. Let's go with maybe I have no idea how our positions compare to each other. So
I do.
I think I'm preparing for a. You have them this high.
I actually think you're going to be amazed at how close we are. I think you're really going to be amazed at how close we are. So
okay, because I this year I'm trying to refrain myself from looking at your rankings.
Okay.
So I am literally getting surprised by how you're ranking them.
Okay.
On air. So Mike, I guess we'll start with the top 10. For my number 1 team, I put the Kansas City Chiefs.
You know, Rich, I'm right there with you. And it's not the Chiefs that put themselves there. And I'll explain that when I get to my number 2.
All right, my number 2 team, I stuck with the Buffalo Bills.
I agree. And this is so everybody's like so you put the Bills in number 2. How did the Bills make the Chiefs number 1? The way that they dug themselves into as big of a hole as they did,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that they're that great. I really do think that first half, like legitimately. So, Rich, and this week I can honestly say that I did this. My goal is every week, Monday, Tuesday. Sometimes if I have to bleed into Wednesday, I go through and watch the highlights from all the games I didn't watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched highlights. That's basically all I did. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And Tuesday morning, I was watching the Bills Ravens game, and I had the Ravens. I left while they were going into the halftime, and it was 20-3, and I was like, "Oh well, good job, Ravens. I'm surprised they beat them, but good job, you beat the Bills. You guys, that was a good pick. That they could have done that upset. I think you picked the I'm like that's." And then I get to work and I'm listening to Dan Patrick, and they're talking about how the Bills pulled the upset, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then I look it up, and oh my goodness, the fact that they came back, like the fact that they were down that bad and they looked as bad as they did in the first half, I couldn't put them at number 1. So I have so just so you know, the ELO, which is a slightly more scientific way than you and I do it. You and I use our eye test and things like that. The ELO just takes a mathematical formula and figures out where each team should be ranked. They do have the Bills ranked at number 1 and the Kansas City Chiefs ranked at number 2.
All right, Mike. So who did you put in the third spot?
I put the Philadelphia Eagles. It hurts me to say that, but when you are the last undefeated team, even in week 4, man, I gotta give you some props.
I put the Eagles there too, and probably the main reason why I don't have them above the Chiefs and the Bills, it's because they're of who they've beaten.
Yeah.
They've really only beaten one probably team that's at least through the preseason was maybe predicted to make a playoff run, which was the Vikings. Their other wins was a shootout with the Lions and then beating up on the Commanders and the Jags. So I'm not quite ready to move them up past the Bills and the Chiefs just yet.
Their Jags win is actually helping them for me, and I'll explain it when we get to the Jags and an article that I sent you. So,
Yeah, you're.
Am I checking?
Gotcha.
Okay, week 4 or team number 4, Rich. Who do you have?
I put the Green Bay Packers here.
Okay, I did too. They're a solid team. They're playing well enough, but again, they're just playing well enough to win. They're not showing us that they are this elite team just yet. But they have Aaron Rodgers. Number 5.
They do.
I have the Minnesota Vikings.
All right. This is probably where I put a team way too high, but my gut feeling was that I still believe in this team, even if they can't close out games, and this is where I put the Baltimore Ravens.
Man, I'll give you my opinions on that in a second. So,
yeah.
So what is winning for the Baltimore Ravens for you?
I really didn't put too much thought into why I put them there.
Okay.
Mostly because, I look at the teams that I have below them, and it's like I think the Baltimore Ravens are a better team on paper, even if they're, at least if they're, the games that they've lost, the Dolphins and the Bills, are at least losses to good teams. Or at least, in the case of the Dolphins, a team that was good and hot at the time.
Yeah.
Not now. Maybe not now. Maybe see what Teddy Bridgewater can do being the full-time starter and getting a week of preparation and work with the starters.
Yep.
So maybe, by all means, Baltimore probably will be lower next week. So who did you put at number 5, you said?
I said the Vikings.
The Vikings. Okay. I don't have the Vikings ranked too much further down than you. In the number 6 spot, I put the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. In the number 6 spot, this is where I put the Miami Dolphins. Yes,
Okay.
Tua is injured. Yes, it's a bad look. But man, they're playing scrappy and they're playing well. Like
They are.
even with backups, they're playing well. It looks like a well-coached team. Whether or not the coach is making good decisions when it comes to his players' health, that's a completely different scenario.
It is. All right. So number 7 is where I put the Vikings.
Okay, and that's not bad. Number 7 is actually where I put the Baltimore Ravens. So we just flipped our 5s and our 5 and 6, our 5 and 7. The Baltimore Ravens, they are turning into the Atlanta Falcons, a team that looks really good, but just can't finish anything. And I think they will, depending on how this week goes, they could drop out of my top 10. Again, it's hard to say who's going to replace them, but there's teams like the Titans and the Chargers. There's a team that you have in the top 10 that I don't, that I think could replace the Ravens in the top 10. And we'll get there when you get to it. So, Rich, my number 8 spot is the Dallas Cowboys. This is where I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Number 8.
I put the Bengals at number 8.
Okay.
They're coming around.
Yeah,
They're coming around, and that they're starting to play like we thought they would.
Yep.
Being the defending AFC champs.
And you know what? I am right there with you, but I have them at number 9. Just one spot lower. That's it.
Okay. Number 9 is where I put the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
I want to see what this team can do with Teddy Bridgewater.
I am going to shock you with my number 10. This is probably going to be the biggest shock you've had in a while with my top 10. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. I think I had Jacksonville up a little higher. I know I moved them down in this week's rankings, as I have the Jaguars at 13. I went with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 10. They're starting to get healthy. They've lost to some. They've had some. Their losses are to good teams in the Chiefs and the Packers, and their losses have come when they've had offensive weapons around Tom Brady out for suspensions or injuries. So I think that team's starting to get healthy, and the schedule's starting to let up. So I think Tom Brady's going to get this team back on track.
You know what? And I'm okay with that, and I don't mind that. I have that team I have actually at 13th.
Okay, so we basically swapped where we have the Jaguars and the Buccaneers ranked.
Yeah, they haven't proven anything to me yet, and I know like there are teams that I have in the top 10 that don't look like they've proven much either, but yeah. So Rich, I do have to bring up, we both have a team out of the top 10 that has only lost one game.
Is that the New York Football Giants?
It is. They are a garbage team that seems to be winning, and it's weird. By the way, there is one other team that has no, never mind. They don't have a good record. Never mind. The Giants are, but they're winning against terrible teams.
Well, yeah, I mean they played a close game against the Titans, but their other wins are the Panthers and the Bears, who I both have in my bottom 5.
Yeah, we need to get to the
3-1. Yep. Due to their schedule, not because they're a winning football team. So I have them at number 19.
Okay, and that doesn't bother me at all. I think that's pretty accurate. I have them at number 17, mostly because
that far off.
Mostly because their record is better than a lot of teams. I mean, I have them better than the Broncos. I have them better than the one that I question is I do have them better than the Arizona Cardinals.
I don't have them quite there.
The Cardinals
I
don't
think
look good though.
yeah, I don't have them above those teams. Because I think maybe unfairly, I know mostly I'm really trying really hard this year to do my power rankings off of what have you done for me lately,
Okay.
instead of looking ahead of this is a bad team that's beating up on worse teams.
So
That's the only
technically,
reason why they're 3-1.
then
So that's
technically,
why.
the New York should be for you higher. You're
Yeah,
saying, "What have you done for me lately?" Well, the Giants are winning.
yeah, and I'm not giving them those props.
They don't
So
deserve it, and that's okay.
they don't deserve
Let's
it.
go to our bottom five, and then let's hit up the only NFC North team that we don't. Neither one of us has in our top 10 or our bottom five. Where do you have the Detroit Lions?
I put the Detroit Lions at 21.
Put them at 20.
Okay.
So good on it. I'm happy with that. Okay, let's start at the bottom. The worst team in the league, and it's not even close right now. The Houston Texans.
Yep, I agree. I don't think this terrible season is going to cost Lovey Smith his job. Mostly because I think there would just be too much of a media backlash if they went and fired the guy who a lot of people are saying got the job by default. So I don't think it's Lovey is just going to be the guy that's going to take all the losses
Yeah,
until they start getting better.
he's yeah, he's a better coach than what he's getting credit for. He deserves much more. I still don't understand why the Bears let him go. He was one of our best coaches by the numbers. He just was given terrible teams. I would really love to see what Lovie Smith would be doing with the Chicago Bears right now, as I think he was at least better than Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I can give you that. Number 31, Mike, I put the Carolina Panthers.
So, my 31 is the Washington Commanders. Man,
All right.
I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They're up and down, and they're hot, they're cold. Nobody knows what team is showing up and what that's going to look like. That's why I have them at 31. Number 30. This is where I have the Chicago Bears.
All right. I put the Commanders at 30.
Okay.
And I have the Bears at 29.
Yeah. Again, no real big arguments there. I have the New England Patriots at 29.
Yeah. I don't think they've ever been that low.
I've
And
never
our
had
power
them.
rankings are probably anybody's
No,
power rankings
no.
for that matter. Yeah, so I put the Bears at 29. Where did you go with number 28, Mike?
I went with the New Orleans Saints.
I have the Aints as well.
Yeah. By the way, I have the Carolina Panthers at 27. So you had them. I just wanted to cover where you had the Panthers. But yeah.
Yeah, that's where I put the Steelers because they seem to they're not putting points on the board, and
yeah,
their one win was when Joe Burrow just couldn't hang on to the football.
Yeah.
And I put the Patriots at number 26.
Okay. You know what? The hard part is the bottom 10. I would even argue the bottom 10. None of those teams are good.
Mm-mm.
And by the way, we have teams in the bottom 10, including the Seattle Seahawks, a team that we all thought that 5 years ago, if you would have said they were in the bottom 10, you would have been looked at like you're an idiot. They're garbage this year.
Especially or going into the preseason. I think Seattle's doing better than anybody thought they would, playing Geno Smith as their starting quarterback, but like it or not, he's putting up better numbers than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and then it's also in the bottom 10, the Las Vegas Raiders. We knew they were bad. Did we know they were that bad?
The Vegas Raiders for me are almost a team where I was surprised they're doing this bad. They were a playoff team they were a playoff team last year, and you thought going into the off season that we even said it on this show. Any of those four teams could have won the West,
Yeah.
and the Vikings, the Raiders, just can't get on track.
Yeah. The Steelers. We both have the Steelers in the bottom 10.
Yep.
So here's my question. When was the last time we had the Steelers and the Patriots and the New Orleans Saints all in the bottom 10? By the way, we have them in the bottom 8.
Yeah, I don't think it ever has been there, Mike.
This
Don't
is
think it ever has.
This is some upside down stuff going on when it comes to football. There are teams that are terrible that we've never seen be this bad in years. Don't get me wrong. Before Bill Parcells came to New England, they were kind of a joke.
Well, it was basically before Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells had them playing good football.
That's what I said, before Bill Parcells.
Okay, I heard Belichick. I'm sorry.
Nope. I said if I said Belichick, I do apologize. I meant Bill Parcells. Before Bill Parcells, this team was a joke. But guess what? With Bill Belichick, they're back to being a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, Rich, any other teams that you want to hit on before we head over to...
I really don't think so. I mean,
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
The Los Angeles Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams.
You have them at 12. I have them at 15.
It just goes to show how much an offensive line matters.
Yeah.
Because right now, I mean, I haven't watched too many Rams games, but what I'm hearing is that if Cooper Kupp isn't open, Matthew Stafford just seems to not know what to do with the ball right now.
Yeah. It's been kind of terrible. By the way, the other one that I want to bring up and want to talk about, the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
We are seeing, and I'm going to say it, we are seeing the reason why Andrew Luck retired 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They don't
just can't protect the quarterback.
If Tom Brady was getting hit half as much as Matt Ryan, he would have retired 5 years ago. This is ridiculous. Look for Matt Ryan to retire at the end of the year just because of the way he's being treated, like the way he's just getting his butt pummeled. Okay, any more power rankings discussions you want?
I don't think so, Mike. So,
I closed it out, so I can't look at it anymore.
Okay, so Mike, let's go ahead and go to the grid. Go to the baseball diamond real quick.
Okay.
The Cubs closed out the regular season with a 3-2 record.
Yeah.
Closing out the season 74-88, so they didn't go into the 90 losses for the season.
That is a surprise.
Yeah, with the way they were playing, that really is a surprise for me as well.
I actually take this season as a better season than I thought it was going to be. Now, that ain't saying much, because I thought they were a dumpster fire. It just turns out they're just a smoldering dumpster, not a full dumpster fire.
Yeah, and at least the second half maybe showed that there's some promise for next season.
Yeah, we have quite a bit of potential coming in.
Yeah, Javier Assed did well down the stretch, plugging him into the rotation. Hayden Wisnowski and Adrian Simpson look like they could get some could get a serious look and be in rotation pieces next year. For me, I mean, everybody is saying that is this the offseason that the Cubs are going to spend and get somebody to plug in there for the next team, and I don't think it's that time yet.
No, it is time for us to cut ties with Jason Hayward. So long, and thanks for all the fish. I got nothing great to say to him. It was a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, he got a good farewell.
Yeah.
Like he got a good farewell. I mean, I think even on this show he kind of got a bad rap, but at least he wasn't set in his ways of saying, "All right, I'm not going to do it." He was trying to improve
Yeah, he was.
and working at it to be a better hitter, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, and the other side of that is, um, I think did he? How many years did he get a Gold Glove? While
Might have
it,
gotten two or three.
and he had a few. His entire career in the Cubs, his
Hmm.
outfield abilities. I'm not. I'm never going to say that his outfield abilities were on par with his compensation, but he at least was better than I like. He did quite well, and I was happy with it. So, um, that bat is what we were paying for. We didn't get it, but at the same time, what he did in the field and what he brought as a leader in the clubhouse, he did great things, and so I'm okay with that.
All right, but we're not sad to see him go.
Nope. Okay,
All right.
Rich, our
Oh,
playoff predictions. At the beginning of the
yes.
season, um, and we'll actually break this down a little bit better next week. Um, Basically, you and I got one. You got four right in the National League. I got three right in the American League. I'm sorry, we're just at like the 51-minute mark, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to go a little. We'll have a little bit more time next week, and be
So
less
I
up
mean,
against a hard deadline.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, throughout the season and even last week, I think we looked at how our postseason predictions were doing. So let's just close the chapter in this and maybe give an updated World Series prediction since the playoffs have started. So, Mike, the beginning of the year, you said it would be the Dodgers over the Rays. The Rays are currently in a wild card matchup, and they are facing elimination today against the Guardians in Cleveland. So,
I said the
are you
Braves.
going to stick with it? Are you going to stick with the for your World Series?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Dodgers over the Rays.
Yeah, Braves. I don't have the Rays. Oh,
You
wait.
can't have the Braves. The
Oh,
Braves
oh,
and the
oh.
Dodgers are in the same league.
Oh, okay. You're talking World Series. I thought you were talking
World
NLCS.
Series.
Yeah, no,
Nope.
I'm okay
We're
with
just
it.
looking at the World Series.
I'm okay with that. I think the Rays will pull it off. Let's go. Let's go Tampa Bay.
All right, Mike. My World Series pick was the Toronto Blue Jays over the LA Dodgers. I'm gonna have to change that one as I don't know if the Jays can get hot and make it all the way. So I'm gonna flip and I'm gonna give the World Series to the Dodgers as well.
Okay.
And because I don't necessarily want to see the Astros in the World Series again, not because I hate the Astros like you do, I just want to see somebody different. I'm gonna say they're gonna beat the New York Yankees.
Yeah, the Asterisks are probably going to be in the World Series. Let's be honest, but um, I'm gonna stick with my prediction. So, okay. Um, let's move on from that because we still got lots of show left to do. There are five openings in the major leagues. I think there'll probably be at least one more with the first round of playoffs concluding. There occasionally is one more coming out of that. The Marlins, the White Sox, and the Rangers are all available. Rich, who are the last two teams that have
The
availabilities as their manager positions?
the Phillies and the Royals.
Yeah.
And the Angels were open, but they decided to retain Phil Nevin, and they gave him a 1 year contract
Okay.
to remain the skipper. As you had this week from show to show, you had Tony La Russa retiring due to health reasons, and the Royals letting
Again.
go of Matt Matheny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony La Russa retiring again.
Yeah.
Last time it was age, this time it's health. So Matt Matheny was let go by the Royals.
Okay, Rich. Um, Anything else in Major League Baseball that you want to talk about this week, or should we put it all off till next week?
Let's go and put it off till next week.
Okay.
Talk about the postseason.
Rich, we have to give these predictions real quick. Who do you have in the NHL? Who do you have in the Atlantic?
Oh
winning?
man, my really bad NASCAR NHL pick. I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers.
Okay, not a bad pick. They were the top team in the division last year. I went with the Tampa Bay Lightning, Metropolitan.
The Hurricanes.
I agree. Central
The Avalanche.
and Pacific.
Are you also going with the Avalanche?
I am.
Okay. For the Pacific, I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers.
I like that pick. That's a really good one. I'm actually going to pick the Calgary Flames. We will give you our Stanley Cup predictions next week, as it's only 1 week into the season. Okay, Rich. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We are going to talk about The Masked Singer. Rich and I do this every week in the season when we have time. Hopefully, we'll be able to get time back and get back on track. Next week, we will be less up against a hard deadline. So last week we didn't cover the show, but who left last week, Rich?
Oh, this past week it was Damon John from Shark Tank fame, who was the fortune teller, and we also had the Brady Bunch kids
Yeah,
coming in as the mummies.
Yeah, and the week before we had.
I know it was Chris Christopherson getting unmasked as. Oh yeah, Chris Christopherson getting unmasked as the flamingo. No, it wasn't a flamingo.
Yeah.
A hummingbird. The hummingbird.
Hummingbird.
The jackal, the pie rat was Jeff Dunham.
Yeah, and I called that, by the way, right away.
In.
I called it right away.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was Jeff Dunham as well before he even finished his performance.
Oh my! I said it before I said it in the clue package. And my wife's like, "What?"
Okay.
And I said, "It's Jeff Dunham. 100%, it's Jeff Dunham." So.
And because we really haven't discussed it much, you had. I don't remember who the second celebrity was that got unmasked. Oh, Montel Jordan.
Yeah.
Montel Jordan.
Montel Jordan was awesome. I love Montel Jordan. So his one of his biggest hits came out when I was in junior high, and we had dance in junior high at Washington Junior High in Rock Island, and his This Is How We Do It. We did every dance we learned. It didn't matter if we were learning the two-step line dance, or if we were learning waltz, or if we were learning everything was to "This Is How We Do It. It's Friday night."
Yeah.
Everything.
And we didn't really discuss it. This is really our first mass singer talk. And then 3 weeks ago, you saw
Eric Idle,
William Shatner. You saw Eric Idle and William Shatner get unmasked. So are you liking this format?
Not at all. Not
liking the format at all.
Nope. Here's the problem. First of all, the Harp has had to go every week and face elimination every week. Now, granted, she's been by far and away the best, but we don't get to see each of these people that are getting eliminated every week. We only get one clue package with each of them. We're not getting a good understanding. Like, we don't get any real great clues other than the first ones we get. It's kind of rough.
But most of the time with these celebrities, for me, at least on every single episode this season, there's always been a dead giveaway by the time that before the unmasking is like, it's him. I already know it.
Yep.
Forget about it. Wouldn't need additional clues anyway. The Brady Bunch, we knew like midway through the clue package, it's the Brady Bunch boys. It's the Brady Bunch boys.
I was split between two things on the Brady Bunch one. I actually thought it could have been the Home Improvement boys. I was between.
I did like that guess as the Home Improvement boys, but
the problem that I had with it, the reason I knew that one wasn't correct, was the height difference between Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Brad, what's his face, the oldest son.
The oldest
was
brother
actually
was a pretty
younger
big
than
difference.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas. But other than that, I thought the Brady Bunch, but I wasn't 100% sure. So
Yeah, but if anything, this is giving maybe celebrities that have maybe wanted to do the show or people that you think would be good candidates to come on the show, it's allowing those people to get onto the show and maybe not have to commit to doing multiple episodes.
yeah, the problem is that they shoot all of the episodes. I think they shoot them all within like 2 weeks, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I can understand. It's not. They don't do it week in and week out. It's not how they do it. It's sad. It's not a real competition show. It's a pre-scripted competition show. But okay, anything else on The Masked Singer you want to talk about before we head into the shout-outs for the week? We're going to skip that last one as we will put that on the back burner for next week talk.
Do you have any ideas on who the harp is, as we're not going to see her until the semifinals? Because we think that it is Amber Riley from Glee. And I mean, I know that they haven't shown any Glee references because I think that would give it away. But that's who we think it is. And one cast member has guessed that person every single week as well.
I think it's Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get all new singers. We won't have the harp won't be returning. We'll get all new singers and probably another 3-week block of
when is
one
Tom Brady
singer
going to be
having
on?
go against, I don't know.
Okay. I'm
I
still waiting
don't
for
know.
Tom Brady.
All right. So Mike, we're going to talk about changes to the Pro Bowl. We're going to punt that down, kick that can down the road another week.
Yep.
As nothing's going to change, so that we can wait for discussions. So Mike, any comment shout out? Do we have any comment shout outs
No.
that got hit on for when our videos were live?
Yeah, it's been bouncing on and off. It's been kind of terrible. But no, we don't have anything. So, Rich,
Okay. So,
you have a personal shout out though. We did it last week. We'll do it again this week.
Yeah, I got to wish my wife a happy birthday. So thanks for letting us have this time together.
Yep.
For Mike and I to get together and record. So we're looking forward to spending the rest of the birthday weekend with you. And yeah, just you're awesome, hon. So
Yes, you are, Amy.
looking
You
forward
are-
to many
you're
more
quite
years.
awesome. So, yeah, I will echo that. Happy birthday to Amy. Looking forward to it's been great to watch you two grow as a couple and just be as awesome as you guys have been for just Danielle and I, but in general, how much you guys have just grown as people. I love it. I appreciate that your wife has been. I'm going to say some things, Rich, and it's going to get a little sappy, but watching the difference in you that Amy brings into your life has been an amazing thing. And you would not be the man that you are if it wasn't for who God brought to you as a wife. And she's done amazing things for you. And it's been great to see, and I appreciate her a ton. We were friends before you guys dated. Her and I were, and I will say conversely, seeing the change that you have brought in her life has been amazing, and just the growth that you both have had since you guys got married. It's been awesome. Love you two both. You guys are family to us. Rich, now that we've wished your wife a happy birthday, people are watching us. They're annoyed with how Facebook has been this week. They want to listen to the show for real. What should they do?
Mike, go ahead and plug in Balls and Sticks, the podcast, wherever you subscribe to your other podcasts that you listen to on a weekly basis. Subscribe to us, and you can be notified when Mike gets those episodes posted. Mike, if for some reason they're annoyed with Facebook, and they just want to watch the live feed on a different platform, where else can they find us?
You can find us on YouTube, and the video there will be better this week than Facebook was. So check us out there.
Yeah, wherever you watch our show or listen to the show, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So, Mike, with all that being said, what's it time to do?
Is it time to roll the outro?
It is, Mike. Go ahead and press that button. We'll talk at you next week.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.